to today, the 10th of December 2021, a lot has happened. A starting point will be, first of all, to say happy Human Rights Day. What is the essence of human rights, which is today? What is the essence of human rights if societies do not enjoy property rights, if societies do not enjoy land rights, if societies do not enjoy environmental rights, if societies do not have access to natural resources, to land, and to the various forms of resources that they need for their survival as well as livelihoods. And so this is well timed that we are closing today, which is the Human Rights Day. And within this period of the past 2 days, with today being the third day, we've been able to have about 65 presenters take us through different aspects of their research, as well as opinion on various aspects of land governance, as well as societal issues. When I say 65 presenters, that includes about 43 papers that were scientific papers that were presented in the course of this conference, plus the various other keynote speakers who came on board. And this all happened within 11 sessions, including the opening and the closing session. But what is one of the things that was also a highlight of this conference is that within this conference, about 4 books, in fact, 4 books were launched, starting with one academic book on land governance and gender, which is published by CAB International in the UK and funded open access by the Hanns-Seidel Foundation, Shandong, China. The book is out there, and when you go to that book, you see that it's a collection of both highly qualified and elite writers and researchers within the land sector, as well as middle and early researchers or early career researchers. So that makes it important. And within the context of Africa and other developing countries, the book carries a lot of case studies and experiences within the context of land and gender. But also, we were also able to launch 2 UN Habitat reports, UN Commission reports. The first one, actually, the urban-rural land linkage, looks at the land administration context of urban and rural areas, and is a collaborative work between the Namibia University of Science and Technology, the Global Land 2 Network, the UN Habitat, as well as the International Federation of Surveyors, the FIG. The second one is a collaborative work of the UN Habitat, the Namibia University of Science and Technology, and the Global Land 2 Network. And then today we launched a regional report, or a synthesis report on the issues of land governance within the Southern African region, of the Network of Excellence in Land Governance, Network of Excellence in Land Governance in Africa, also under the auspices of the Namibian University of Science and Technology, being the node for the Southern African region. So more than 100 participants so far participated or were engaged directly in this conference, but at the same time, another more than 100 participants participated by watching the sessions live streamed on YouTube. So even as we are talking now, closing on YouTube, we have people participating indirectly. So what can I say? I'll have to start by thanking everyone who's been around and looking through the sessions. The opening session brought quite a lot of personalities who were able to present to us their ideas on land governance and its relationship to societal development. On this basis, we had about 61 participants in that early plenary, with remarks from the Vice Chancellor of the Namibia University of Science and Technology, Dr. Erod Naumab. We also had a parliamentarian from Namibia in the name of Dr. Becky Njose Ojo. And then we had presentations from Mr. Thierry Ngoga, and of course, we would never forget the presence of the honorary president of FIG, Professor Chrissy Otsu, and so many others, including openings from Dr. Susan Luther from Hanns-Seidel Foundation and Dr. Michael Klaus from Hanns-Seidel Foundation in Shandong. So I will not go through all the sessions, but I've already mentioned the key highlights within the key highlights of the entire conference. And I would basically on this move on to introducing our plenary speaker, Dr. Pranab Rajan Chaudhary, who's the Associate Director of the Center of Land Governance in India. And he would give us remarks in the context of the subject and the theme of this conference as we are closing now, but he opens this particular plenary by introducing some discourse for which we can reflect on as we leave here. So please, I know that I might not have introduced you in the best way possible, but we are running out of time, so I've just decided to keep it snappy. But you can also pick the opportunity maybe within one to 2 minutes to introduce yourself further and then give your remarks. So please, I leave the floor for Pranab Rajan Chaudhary, the Associate Director of the Center of Land Governance in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chibbu. I'll not take 1 minute to introduce myself, but can I know how much time we have? Because I think time is precious here and we are running almost 1 hour late. So how much time I have, and I'll be happy to accommodate whatever time you give me.
I'm very willing to give you 20 minutes.
Oh my God, it's too generous. I don't know how I'll be able to utilize that or not. Thank you so much. I think I'm very happy to be with all of you today. Thanks to this generous gesture of my friend, Professor Chibbu. And we have a partnership now active with the Department of Land and Property Science of the Namibia University of Science and Technology, and it is really a privilege to be part of this conference, as Professor Chibbu was talking about. With about 65 presenters presenting 43 research papers across 11 sessions with release of 4 books. I think it's quite a remarkable academic exercise, and I think the deliberation that have been made here, as she was saying, that available already on YouTube, will be definitely contributing not only to enriching academic investment policy and practice in Africa, but also will be to other part of the world. So, and I thank also Professor Kajua, who has not been, I think he had to leave early for some work because of this delay, for also making it happen, and also thanks Royal Babakan, who has been coordinating it with this and part of the team. Coming back to me, so I'll not introduce myself, but let me have the opportunity to utilize the opportunity to introduce Center for Land Governance. I think many of you will be knowing about the center. We just organized India Land Development Conference, and we had Africa Day this time, where we had a lot of participation from Africa, from almost more than 12 countries, including last West in the session. And this is a kind of first entry made to Africa, understanding African context, and it was quite useful and entry, and we had very interesting conversations, which definitely would lead to something we talk about South-South partnership around land, and towards which we have already started discussing with some partners, including an university. Center for Land Governance, apart from organizing India Land Development Conference, also carry out some policy and action research and some technology pilot around land in India. And our major objective of the center is to break these silos across land disciplines as well as land institutions. So not only in the domain of government, but how civil society, academia, media, all can come together and discuss around land. And as this particular conference talks about land government and societal development, how land governments can better contribute to societal development. I think that is where we are trying to our best contribute to, and we look forward to partnerships with African colleagues, and researchers and institutions who have really remarkable work around that to take this idea forward. Coming back to my remark, I think I'll not dare to remark on the academic proceedings that has taken place and the rich discussions that already have been made, because I was not privy to all of them. But I would try to talk something related to the theme of this conference and how we connect that to what is happening in India and how it will be leading to a fruitful South-South partnership. So the topic land and societal development, land governance and societal development, as you look at, sometimes societal development we see defined as like a kind of economic development, because the development word nowadays is increasingly being used in the context of economic development, economic well-being in most of the countries and by many of the governments. So uh, if you just look at land governance and societal development in terms of economic development, treating land as a resource, I think we may be missing a lot of things that the multidimensionality of land as an entity come together. Land is not only a resource; it is an identity. It is a it is something which is emotionally attached to communities. It is which something become a source of power relation in the society, and for societal and individual well-being. I think apart from economics, we have to go to its social aspects and environmental aspects as well as cultural aspects. So keeping that in mind, if you look at the way the present scenario of land governance in many countries, we see land governance is becoming more aspirational, more informed, and more nuanced, and also at the same time more contested. Because with more nuanced understanding, we have started questioning some paradigms which were, ruling the land governance thinking or land administration thinking, not only in global south but also in the global north. And with more and more engagement coming in, we find more and more conflicts, contestations, and also ideas and innovations coming in. So if you look at particularly in the context of development, what we are looking at in terms of societal development is beyond well-being, and we are looking at development is also ethical, the process of it, which is now coming up from consent of the people. So it is not the development that is decided by the state or decided by the researcher or decided by the land administrator. It has to be also the development outcomes where community as a process, community contributes to the process, community participates and community decide and what they want. So they may not be always wanting something outcome as a tenure security in terms of a property rights or in terms of a spatially mapped document using technology. They might be needing something else, more decentralized, more customary kind of systems. So I think that debate has already opened up between academia practitioners and governments. At the same time, we also look at the development is more integrated. The development which connects land to land use, which connects land to sustainability, which connects land to equity and social justice. So we just can't have something because many times we look at objective of land governance as inclusive tenure security, but inclusive tenure security always remain a mean, and the end is something as we can put it as a societal development or a combination of peace, well-being, trust, and also which is allowing diversity and plurality in the society. So keeping that in mind, I think land governance also should try to address that. So just look at how land governance has been addressing that. So I would take few minutes to explain that, drawing from my learnings from India. I think it's quite similar to Africa. So if you look at the land, land governance trajectories that India has gone through, so there is a saying. There is, I'm still trying to delve into that deeper and do some research around that. But there has been some information and understanding that land as a property right. The whole discourse around property right in India started, individual property right started in 5th century. Before that, land was a kind of more open access, land was a more kind of cultural identity, land was something treated by society, not exactly as a resource, as a commodity, as a property rights. And with that coming in, I think the whole issues around how the power, patriarchy, and other other factors they started influencing and also apportioning land towards them, and land becomes something which becomes more contested, which need to be managed, which need to be governed by the state and the rich and powerful. So that all started with that, and along with that, also there was issues of there are development around land measurement. So unlike other part of the world, in India the land measurements have been if you look at the history, there are instances of land measurement even using sticks or using the geometry principles way back to 1000th century AD. So many rulers have tried to measure the land with different kind of instruments, which in a way opened up a system Britishers tried to leverage upon bringing in land survey. But before that, one thing was important: when this land and power relations was coming in, land was treated as a kind of asset, which was kings tried to take control of, emperor tried to control of, and distributes among temples, temple servitors, as well as generals. So as a result of which, while traditionally the servitors and generals were not from a particular caste, they were based on their work, but subsequently they become caste linked. And like in India, we talk about four main castes: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Brahmins are the worshipper of God, and Kshatriyas are the warriors. Vaishyas are the people who are doing business at different castes, and Shudras are the people who serve them. So as a result of which, what happened, most of the land get concentrated in the hand of upper caste, which we call Brahmins and Kshatriyas, which are the worshipper of Lord and the warriors, and to some extent with the business community. So that for a quite remarkably, which is we can call it unfortunate thing, continues, the legacy continues till now. Even post independent, India has a higher percentage of land owned by these people. It continued to be there. So among the Dalits were part of the Sudras. If you look at the present literature, the present statistics, so with every 1% increase in Dalit population in a village, we find the Gini coefficient of land distribution goes up by 0.2%. So that means when there is more Dalit, land is more unequitably distributed. So, as per the India socio-economic caste census, there are about more than 50% people in the India are landless. But if you go to Dalits, it is around 55%. So, this is something, a kind of social justice issue which continue to plague, land security in India. And when you go for digitalization, when you go for land record things, we probably perpetuate that, and with blockchain kind of thing, we seal that. So that is something we need to look at if technology coming as a help or as a challenge. So if you look at India's post land reform trajectory, post independent, India tried to bring in a social justice framework, like in most part of the globe also try to do that, learning from experience of East Asia, where the land reform, redistributing land to the poor farmer was one of the agenda, and it worked well in propping up economies. India also started that, tried to do it in the 60s, and most of the India's ruler post-independent, they tried to focus on that. Even India's first constitutional amendment was influenced by that. That also led to a kind of dilution of property right regime in India, which was earlier as part of the constitutional right, that has to be diluted because many rich landowners they contested, they went to court when the land reform and redistribution coming in because they acknowledge that their right to property is getting diluted. So as part of that, in this first constitutional amendment came in, which make the land right not a constitutional right but a limited right. But at the same time, the social justice agenda, which talked with the social justice agenda, was not necessarily for social justice purpose, for it primarily because agriculture land reform, which was trying to make still look at land as a resource, and if more equitable access to land can make people have their better living and food security. Then, while this continued till 80s and early 90s, but land reform, as many of the researcher and many of the data says, in India remain unfinished. So land reform, particularly with these objectives of redistributing land, reforming tenancy, doing consolidation, it remains still unfinished. So tenancy continues in most part of India. People still, rich people could manage to continue to hold land in spite of this ceiling coming in. So while that remained unfinished, what came in India early 90s, India tried this, focusing on decentralization. So decentralization as a strategy in the governance is not only land, but over the whole governance regime, which led to, just like in Africa, we have village authorities. India used to have village authorities and what we call village panchayats. So India started talking about a three-tier system of governance where the federal or central state, at the government of India level in Delhi, and at the state, provincial level, and then at the level of panchayat village level. So three-tier system of governance was introduced, and many of the subjects were decentralized, including land. But till date, most of the state have not been able to decentralize land administration to the village. So land administration and land reform, both for most part of the land remains as a state subject in India, and the government of India has some control around land acquisition and settlement and taxation, a little bit of taxation. So decentralization also was not completed as the agenda in land. So that must be understood that most of the land reform agenda are brought in by state remain unfinished. Then that remaining, India went to liberalize in 90s. So when the liberalization came in, so there was a sudden focus on land being looked as a commodity, and can the question of can technology be used to record land, and so that land can be easily transacted, the business doing business will be easier. So that led to birth of National Land Records Modernization Program or Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, I think about which Asuni was presenting in the last session. So Digital India Land Record Program was came in as to use the power of technology and digitalization, where India also had made strides to see if it can contribute to land tenure security. Still, it remains a big question mark with most of the. Vichendu, am I keeping time?
Can give you 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so uh, that agenda still remains incomplete with most of the existing records being computerized. So from a social justice angle to into efficiency and angle of technologies. So then what we saw in early 2000, there was again a socialist reform agenda coming in, which because as a result of liberalization, a lot of contests started taking place around the way land is acquired by industry. And then there was a more learning, and people tried to repeal the act that was determining the act which was based on principle eminent domain from the British period, 1894 Act, which was also called by something like draconian, to repeal that act and bring in some kind of fair justice principle. So which India brought in 2013 with land acquisition, resettlement and rehabilitation act based on fair compensation and principle of justice, which I think many of the African countries also trying to implement. But again, it has a very good law, but implementation is challenged because land remains a state subject. Many states have already diluted it. Similarly, during this time also there was a renaissance around women land right, and Hindu Succession Act in India was most of the inheritance, religious inheritance act that determined land inheritance, particularly around non-agricultural land, but agricultural land also a state has to come in. So many states are amended their land to allow women to inherit the land equally as men, and government of India tried to do that also. Again, this is a very good constitutionally there is a equal right, legal framework is there, but still in India, while data is still confusing, less than 10% of women would be owning land. Another reform came in during this period is called forest reform. So forests were traditionally, governed by the state still from British era, and most of the forests were reserved for the timber production, denying rights of the communities or settling rights of the exporting communities from there. So as a result of which, many people, tribal people, particularly indigenous communities living on the tribal forest land, were not having rights. And through a successful people's movement, I think it is one of the best people's movements that we can talk about post-independence. So there has been a, yeah. You want me to conclude in 2 minutes? Yeah, I'll do so. So my point is that while this land reform agenda is shifting, what is also kind of coming in between is that researchers and practitioners doing this kind of conference, engaging in this kind of research in India, Africa, everywhere, and trying to make this understanding about land governance more nuanced. For example, while we're talking land reform was good, now people are contesting that. While we're talking technology was good, technology is the solution, or land administration is solution, will fit for purpose land administration solution. There are now authors and public researchers trying to challenge that. So what is coming in the sector is a new knowledge. And with the development of new knowledge, we are trying to challenge some paradigms because what we need particularly is something which is contributing to societal development. Yeah, last half a minute. So the societal development is coming in with more knowledge and more interaction, and we're all trying to. And before I end, I just try to share these 2 sentences. If we want to really make land governance work for society, we have to think something about socially responsible land administration. Just like corporate social responsibility, corporate responsibility, ESG framework we're talking about, even our land administration has to be consciously socially responsible. It cannot only be technology focused. It can be only be focused on efficiency of data, blockchain. It has to also contribute to the be conscious of the social. And in that context, what I see is a clear case for a South-South partnership, which can come from the learning of people like Uchendu, what they are doing, and the people in India, what they are doing. I think there is a clear case for, if you want to really make a societal development, we have to have a socially responsible land administration and a South-South partnership, which contribute to that from the local level. Thank you, I stop here. Thank you, Uchendu, for
thanks
your
very much. Thanks very much, Pranab. Thanks very much. I love how you ended with the South-South partnership, because that takes us to why Pranab is here in the first place. He's been a friend to the to Northern Department for a long time, and personally to me. But we just signed an agreement in a memorandum of understanding between the Center of Land Governance India and NOST itself, specifically the Department of Land and Property Studies. And just with the last concluded India Land and Development Conference, NOST was part of it, together with the Center of Land Governance India, and we were able to, for the first time, launch an African Day within this conference, and which helps to push the agenda of the South-South dialogue or South-South partnerships. And so we've very much heard from Mr. Chowdhury concerning the land governance trajectory in India and the Indian experience with decentralization and to the fight, or if you like, the effort towards a more equitable land access, especially through digitization. And so he also did mention about the importance of this particular conference, which is linking land administration, land governance issues that we talk and write about, to societal development or social impact. And on that, he ended by talking about us doing land administration in a way that is socially, responsible. And so he talked about the socially responsible land administration. And so I want to thank you, Pranab. It's an honor to have you here, and it's all part of the partnership we've signed, and we hope to continue this way. And so before I move to the next session, I would like to ask if there's anyone who wants to put a question straight to Pranab. Normally, when this session is going on, I keep receiving questions through my my private chat, but I haven't received any as at the moment, and I'm assuming that would mean that the presentation or his speech, is at least clear to most of us. And so, without any question, I'll move on immediately to our next speaker, who would be Dr. Klaus. But before I say that, I would like to mention the importance of partnerships, the importance of partnerships in the context of this particular conference. In this conference, there are various partners. You've just heard from the Center for Land Governance, India. We also have the NELGA, Southern Africa. We have the Global Land 2 Network. We have CABI, or CAB International, which is a publisher. We have the Malaysian Real Estate Institute, part of partnership in this. We have the UTHM in Malaysia, which is University Tun Hussain on Malaysia. We also have Patama Society from Malaysia. We have the Islamic University of Malaysia. We have the University of the Philippines, and we have Trembo. We can go on and on and on and on. And these are pure official partners. Within the list, in terms of activities, we had partnership from other NEGA institutions from Africa, including the East African Land Administration Network, and so on and so forth. But who's put everything together? This is where I would now have to introduce the next speaker. Of course, this is put together by the Hanns-Seidel Foundation and the Namibia University of Science and Technology. But many things wouldn't happen except the Hanns-Seidel Foundation, without the Hanns-Seidel Foundation. They have, in terms of finance, in terms of ideas, in terms of design, they have been the bulk of it. And what NOST has done is try to frame these ideas in a manner that it will be appealing to the rest of the world. And this is the first time, and we're hoping that it keeps improving as we move on. But having said that, the big player in this whole partnership is the Hanns-Seidel Foundation, specifically the Hanns-Seidel Foundation office in Shandong, China. And on that basis, I would like to call Dr. Michael Klaus to give us a remark with regards to research and development and partnerships with NOST, and in the context of this conference. Thank you, and I welcome you, Dr. Klaus. You're muted.
I'm already unmuted. It took only the time to Namibia until it was shown. So I thank you very much for the introduction. And but you underestimated the role of the NOST, because, okay, we brought the contacts, but you have a very good network, and without your facilitating and your efforts to bring it together, the conference would not have been started. So I estimate the newly signed agreement with NOST as a very helpful and important for my work. And I think this agreement should lead to a very strategic partnership with the NOST. And I think with this partnership, we also can connect our own networks and create a little bit more exchange than we had before. So that's the first point I want to emphasize on the strategic partnership with the NOST. We have a network and you have a network, but we try to link our capacities and bring it to exchange of partners, and also to exchange of experiences which we had in pilot projects, studies, or other research points, that we can talk about the ideas, and that not everybody must invent the things new when already some base work has been done. What for me for the future also is very important, and I think this will also embed our networks, that I want to create learning modules in the field of land governance, digital learning modules that maybe could be also become to public access, also for universities, especially in countries, in developing countries, so that we try to update the knowledge and also to make linkages. What's for me also very important, because I saw this symposium was a very good success, and I liked the ideas, the speeches, and the exchange that was coming, that this was a kick-off symposium for future symposium. We have to discuss it. I think we should try to make it on a yearly basis to come up with fast discussions and that we can link our networks and contacts very, very fast. This had been the main ideas on what I wanted to express, what's important. I think we have to stay in contact, and what we developed as an idea, this I can already launch, that we want to start a platform on land governance, where we can create our ideas, where we invite our partners to take part and bring exchange on the topics and networks. On publications, we are just in discussion, but I think this would be also one important part in the future to spread the knowledges or to give a platform for young talents in kind of publishing the things. For me, this was also what I have to grip up from Pranab Chantari, that we in our partnership can link up a South-South cooperation with different networks. And as I learned, so China is also very active in Africa. Germany is very active in Africa. You are very active in Africa, that we can link together some efforts and bring the actions on the same level of ideas, because there are different approaches and different understandings. And if we embed our partners in the networks, I think we can create a basis of a better mutual understanding and maybe better outcome for the points. So at the end, I really like to say thank you for the NAST for taking all the efforts also on a short notice way to set up the conference. I think it was a very good kick-off event, and therefore I give back to Mr. Chikbo. Not before, I really like to thank all participants for their inputs, for the audience, also for the patience that in our first kickoff, some technical things had been new and we had to experience with this. And especially challenge was, I think, the time gap between the different main actors with maximum difference of 8 hours if we calculate to Indonesia. So thank you very much, and therefore I hand back.
Thanks very much, Dr. Klaus. I mean, what can I say? I think I'm sure my colleague, Royamaba Keng, will have some things to say, and my boss here, Professor Muchinde Kachwa, would have plenty to say if he was here. But unfortunately, Professor Muchinde Kachwa is not here because he's got some other engagements. And so actually, in my opening, I had to take up both my remarks as a moderator as well as his. But on my side, I would go into what Dr. Klaus has alluded and mentioned during his short remark. But before I go there, which will now lead us to the closing, I would like to ask if Professor Stig Enemark is still with us. Professor Stig Enemark is still with us. To ask if he has any remarks to make based on his participation in this conference. I don't know for how, I think Professor Stig Enemark definitely was in the book launch for yesterday, and definitely in the NELGA session for today, and also on the first day. So I would now call on Professor Stig Enemark for his participation in this conference to see so that we can hear what he thinks about the conference before I close it with also with response to Dr. Klaus' remarks. Is Professor Stig with us? Okay. Professor Stig Enemark, are you still with us? Okay, I would assume that he's with us, but probably muted. Yes, he's muted, but let's move on. To respond to and to close, as well as respond to Dr. Klaus' remarks, I would want to say, first of all, there are various things that the Hanns-Seidel Foundation, the representative of Hanns-Seidel Foundation China has, Shandong China has talked about. One is that this conference or this forum or medium should be made a yearly thing. And I can tell you that NOST, from our part, NOST is very, very open to it, because we believe that when it comes to making social impact, the talk has to go on and the work has to go on. Here we don't talk about just walking the walk, and we don't talk about just talking the talk. It's important that we talk the talk. That's what the civil society do. That's what activists do. Some people don't listen and some people don't hear. And so the idea of talking the talk on land governance is something we do every day and we have to continue doing. And in this, from this perspective, holding this conference, getting to connect with others is very, very important. But we can also add that from our side and from the sides of our partners who are here, and maybe if there's time, I'll give some of them to give short remarks. But please, if I do give you a time to give short remark, please keep it really short. We would draw from this talk that we talk here and walk the walk. And at the Department of Land and Property Sciences at NOST, we do it. We have the medium to do it because we are blessed with partners who help us do it and who we can tap into their own energies. We are blessed with a university that supports us in what we do, and we are blessed with colleagues within the department who help us do and work this work. We also work with municipalities and the government. So that's one point. The other one is that there's need to create learning modules for capacity building and capacity development in the area of land governance. And I can say that it's part of walking the walk, and NOST and its partners are very, very open to do that. We are very, very open because we believe we have the capacity. We also believe that our partners have the capacity. And whenever we have anything to do where we lack the capacity, we always tap into those of our partners. As you can see, this conference was supposed to be just NOST and Hanns-Seidel Foundation, but it turned out very much to be a collaboration of global partners. Then the issue of the website, we totally agree that there is need to create a platform for disseminating the information, the talk we talk, as well as the work we work. And I can tell all of you that already the Hanns-Seidel Foundation is working hard on this together with NOST, and we will do that. So there will be a website, a platform on land governance, which I can give you the nomenclature or the details at the moment, but it is already in fact, it is in the oven operating as we're talking about. We're just waiting to populate it and get things running, and then we'll announce it. So thank you very much, Dr. Klaus, for mentioning that. With regards to academic publications, obviously, we call for papers in for this conference. I have to mention, Stig is here. Stig, we wanted you to give a short remark, but I will come back to you when I finish mine. So with regards to academic publications, of course, we try to link policy issues and link academia to policy makers. And so it is very important that we do not take academic publication, for granted, but we also need to take policy publications, take policy publications more seriously. Those are publications that our politicians cannot probably understand, our policymakers can understand, and can help us walk the walk that we hope to do. And in the context of Dr. Klaus' remark, important that we do this also to help the young talents who are coming up, because if you all agree with me, I don't know if you do, but I think sometimes we completely run out of ideas, but even those of us who are so-called new generation, which is why people like Stig Enemark, whenever he's around, we always try to tap into the brains of people like him to see how far we can go, because they have quite a lot of experience. On the South-South Cooperation, Of course, NOST and the Center for Land Governance in India had already started this and already linked it and already gone through, an African Day. But I mean, the world is not about Asia and Africa, and there's other parts of the South as well. And we are happy that the Hanns-Seidel Foundation actually believes that we should continue with this, and with the help of the German, Chino-German collaborations, which is actually happening in Africa. We hope that NOST will tap into this, and NOST partners would also tap into this. So with regards to the future, I have to say the papers delivered in this conference, about 43 of them, we are not going to take them for granted. We have a website where we'll probably list these papers. When I say list the papers, I don't mean that we'll publish your paper on our website. Obviously, you haven't given us any paper, because this was a presentation first before full paper. But when the full paper comes, we intend to curate a special issue either with land on MDPI platform or with land use policy itself. But the consequence of this is that our job is to provide access to it. But when it comes to peer review, obviously we cannot determine what paper will be published or what will not be published. But out of 43, if we're able to get some papers published in a special issue, it would also help provide and push the agenda of this conference forward. And so that is it for the future. But before I close, I would like to say that Professor Stig Enemark, Stig, your turn. If you've been in this conference from the beginning to the end, you've been part of various sessions. And I believe in each session you've been part of, you've had the opportunity not just to observe, but also to utter comments. I mean, of course, you were not in every session, but in the key sessions, plenary, book launching, NELGA synthesis launching, you've all been part of this. And so we would like to hear from you. This is a baby conference, if you like. I would like to say that NOST is a baby university, if my colleagues in NOST do not mind. But one thing about NOST I can tell you is that we are the baby that cry the right time, laugh the right time, walk the right time, crawl the right time. And on that basis, I would like to get Stig Enemark's remark concerning the conference, Land Governance for Societal Development.
Well, thank you, Eugene, and I'm sorry for being a little, inconsistent here, because I'm actually on the road. I'm at a hotel in Copenhagen, and a few things are going on. So sorry about that. But I'm here. I'm happy to just give a few remarks in the end. And first of all, I would like to say, following this conference, actually quite impressive, I have to say, and also very gives this very positive feeling that the global land community can come together even during these difficult times, and a lot of normal conference activities are closed down, such as the World Bank, and so it's great to see that it's possible to meet this way and have such a program established. And I would really like to congratulate the NOST Department of Property and Science for putting all this together and bringing so many eminent speakers and subjects and together, and to launch all these brilliant reports and research. So I think we can all be actually very happy being part of this. And once again, Eugene and Royal and Mochente, congratulations on your good work. Thank you.
Thank you. So on that note, we are basically closing, but I would like to also, Royal Mabakeng, I'll give you time to talk. You have the last word. But I want to say what you see here is a collaboration of the energies of several people, including myself, Royal Mabakeng, Penehafo Ricardo, Mario Sikuta, Vanessa Ntwala Simata, Lina Alexander, Jenili Kohima, Selena Awala, Mr. Kahirike Samwando, and various other people within our department. Please forgive me if I didn't mention your name. Professor Kachua has been part of this from the beginning, but I would also like to mention that our friends from East African Land Administration, East African Land Administration, these are partners, and they were able to actually come here in crowds when it comes to the paper presentation, paper submission, and participate. Our NELGA partners, particularly from the Southern African region, our partners from Asia, like I've mentioned, from Malaysia, from the Philippines, there are quite a lot of them. And Tremble was here. Kabi had produced the book and could have just walked away, but they still participated in being here. Our friends from the Technical University of Munich, and so on and so on and so forth. I want to thank everyone before I call this to an end. Royal Mabaken just sent a message that it's fine, that she has no comments. And on this basis, please, I want to say thank you, Stig. Thank you, Pranab. Thank you, Dr. Klaus. Thank you, Hanns-Seidel Foundation. Thank you. There's so many of them: Felician Komu, Fatima Mandu. I can go on, Agnes Masumbi. So many of you I can't mention, but please, I want to thank you, Mr. Issa. I want to thank all of you for being here. And on that basis, I would like to call this conference to a close and hope that this collaboration between the Namibian University of Science and Technology and the Hanns-Seidel Foundation in Shandong, China would continue, so that it would turn into what the representative, Dr. Klaus, has just mentioned, should be a yearly activity. Because by doing this, as Stig Enemark also alluded, we are covering the gap left behind because of the lack of activity within the area of the World Bank Land Conference on land, on land and poverty, and so many other conferences that we used to go to, but because of the COVID-19, they are not happening. And would like to simply thank you all. But before we say thank you all and close, but could everybody just put their cam on so that our colleagues, my colleagues, can take a photo, a group photo, which we can use to at least announce and show that we are proud to have been part of this. Please put your cameras on. Everybody, please put your cameras on, and I'll call on my colleagues. You just let me know when you've taken the group photo, then I can call the entire conference to an end.
All right, I'm not sure what screen everyone is having, but we're supposed to have a gallery type of view. Mario?
You just go to view, you get your screenshot.
All right. Okay, Mario, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I realize that it's done. So I would like to thank every one of you. I'm just seeing our friend also from Hanns-Seidel Foundation, Max Meli. So Max, please, it's good to have you. So with that, please, this has been a success, and we will document it as much as accurately as we can and ensure that as soon as this website is up, we populate it with the information, and then we can continue the interaction. I hope that we can have this as a yearly affair, amongst other things that we have pledged to continue with here. So from the Department of Land and Property Sciences, Namibia University of Science and Technology, and from the Hanns-Seidel Foundation, Shandong, China, we are happy with this conference, and on that basis, we want to call it to an end. So thank you, and have a good weekend going forward. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.